Desmos. What you are going to want to do, so a reminder for how you're going to enter stuff in Desmos, you are going to click on these three little dots or lines here, and then you need to go down to Statistics Linear Regression. Remember, they're not in alphabetical order, which is super annoying, so you just have to scroll through until you find it. So Statistics Linear Regression, and you're going to see this. You will enter data in this table. Down here, it will give you the linear regression. If it asks you to enter an equation, you can just click on a free line and enter the equation there. Remember that the linear regression equation that they give you here is what the calculator thinks the best option is based on a lot of mathematical calculations. So once you enter your data, it will populate here. That orange line will be the linear regression. You can pinch in and out to zoom on this. Make sure that when you're doing that, you can fully see your y-axis and your x-axis. And then when you're doing things like slope, be paying attention to the scale. You can play around with the wrench. You do not need to set it at what the wrench settings were when we were doing things before, because the data is completely different, so it will actually zoom too far out if you set it at what we had. So just play with it, and then once you have a good view of all of your data, you'll take a screenshot and insert it in your document. I am going to go through a couple of examples of things now that will come up on your assessment. So again, write down what you need to about this, because I will not be here to answer those questions, and they count as content help, so I wouldn't be able to help you anyways. Let's talk about the meaning of slope. So I will use the example that we have been using, head length and height. And you probably have a table again, head length, height. Let's say that I have an equation that models this. The equation is y equals 3x plus 105. Questions are going to ask you, what's the meaning of that slope? So my slope in this case is 3. It wants to know, in the context of this problem, what does that 3 mean? So I have to think about slope is rise over run. Head length is run, height is rise. I can write that out, so rise, height, run, head length. So then I have to think about, okay, my slope, my number. I can always write any whole number, so if I don't have a fraction, I can write any whole number as that number over 1. So this would be, coming from my equation, 3 over 1. This means that for every, and this is what I'm looking for on the assessment, for every 1 centimeter increase in head length, so that is run, there is a 3 centimeter increase in height. When it asks you for meaning, this is what it wants. It wants you to say your numbers, and the context. using an equation. And I will use the same equation that I used in the last example. There's two situations that you might be given. You might be given x, or you might be given y. Let's say in the first example they gave us x, head length is 23 centimeters. To use this, I'm going to plug my 23 centimeters into my equation for x. And then just use order of operations to solve for y. So 3 times 23 gives me 69. 69 plus 105 gives me 174. So what this means in context is the height is 174 centimeters. Now let's say that I've been given y. So let's say they gave me a height of 175 centimeters. Instead of plugging in for x, I'm going to plug in for y. So 175 equals 3x plus 105. Now I have to use my rules of solving. So I am trying to move everything away from that x. It's a two-step equation. I'm going to start with subtracting 105. $175 minus 105 gives me 70. The only thing left on that side is 3x. My last step is to divide both sides by 3. 70 divided by 3 is 23.3. So what that means in context is the head length is 23.3